Sometimes life moves so fast that we forget to listen, not to the noise of the world, but to the quiet voice of the heart. We chase dreams, we fight battles, we pretend to be strong, yet deep inside, there is always one truth we cannot escape: love. Not the kind you see in movies, not the kind people talk about casually, but the kind that shakes your soul. The kind that makes you realize that in a world of billions, there can still be one person who feels like your entire universe. Tonight, my words are not just about love, they are about certainty, about the moment when your heart stops searching because it has already found its destination. And that destination whispers only one promise: you will be mine. Only mine. Let's talk about that feeling and what it truly means when everything else fades and only that one quiet truth remains. Sometimes the world feels loud, crowded with voices, expectations, directions pulling us in 100 different ways. We wake up every morning, step into routines, wear the calm face people expect from us, and move through life as if everything is already figured out. But deep inside, beneath the noise, beneath the careful smiles and quiet struggles, there is something that refuses to stay silent. A feeling that waits patiently like a heartbeat you cannot ignore. It reminds you that no matter how complex life becomes, the human heart is still simple in the way it searches for connection. Not just attention, not just company, but something deeper, something real, something that feels like home. When everything else feels uncertain, that quiet feeling inside you grows louder with every passing day until it can no longer be pushed aside or explained away with logic or reason. There comes a moment in every life when you realize that the journey you thought was about success, ambition, and survival was actually about finding someone who understands the quiet language of your soul. Someone who sees the version of you that the world never notices. The unspoken fears, the fragile hopes, the dreams you protect because you are afraid they might break if you say them out loud. And when someone looks at you and somehow understands those things without explanation, something shifts inside you. The world does not suddenly become easier. Life does not magically become perfect. But the weight you carry feels lighter because you are no longer carrying it alone. That shift is not dramatic or loud. It arrives the way morning light arrives, gently, gradually, filling everything without asking permission and changing the color of every ordinary moment you thought you already understood. Love, real love, is not loud. It does not need to shout to prove itself. It moves quietly, patiently, like a gentle presence that stands beside you even when words are unnecessary. Sometimes it appears in the smallest moments. A look that lingers a second longer than expected. A silence that feels comfortable instead of awkward. A feeling that says without speaking, "I see you." And when that moment happens, something inside your heart begins to wake up, slowly at first, carefully, as if it is learning how to trust again. Many people think love is about finding perfection, about discovering someone who fits every expectation, every imagined ideal. But the truth is entirely different. Love is about recognizing someone's imperfections and still feeling that strange, undeniable sense of peace when they are near. It is about understanding something that the world rarely teaches us about what love truly looks like when it arrives. It is about understanding that every human being carries scars from battles no one else witnessed. We all have chapters of our lives we rarely talk about. Memories that shaped us, losses that changed us, lessons that forced us to grow when we were not ready. And when two people stand in front of each other, carrying all those invisible stories, something extraordinary can happen. Instead of turning away from the complexity, they choose to stay. That choice, quiet and deliberate, is where real love begins. Not in the grand gestures the world celebrates, but in the small, consistent decision to remain present, to remain gentle, to remain honest with someone, even when honesty requires a kind of courage you were not sure you still had left inside you after everything life had already asked you to carry on your own before that person arrived. When you truly see someone, You begin to notice things that others overlook. The way their eyes change when they talk about something they love, the quiet strength behind their laughter, the softness hidden behind their courage. You start to realize that the person standing in front of you is not just another face in the crowd. They are a universe of thoughts, emotions, experiences, and dreams. And suddenly, the idea of walking through life without them begins to feel impossible. There is a strange honesty in love that strips away the illusions we build around ourselves. The masks we wear for the world slowly fall away when we stand close to someone who understands us. In that space, there is no need to pretend, no need to prove anything. You can be strong and fragile at the same time without feeling like you have failed at being the person the world expects you to always be. You can admit fears without feeling weak. You can share silence without feeling lonely. That is when love stops being a concept and becomes something alive. People often ask what makes someone special. What creates that connection that cannot be explained with logic? The truth is, it is not one single moment. It is a collection of small moments that quietly builds something powerful. A conversation that lasts longer than expected. A smile that appears without effort. A sense of familiarity that feels impossible because you have not known each other long, yet something inside says this person matters. Sometimes love arrives when we least expect it, when we are busy trying to organize our lives, planning our futures, convincing ourselves that we already understand exactly where we are going and what we need. And then someone appears and gently changes the direction of absolutely everything. Not because they force change, but because their presence reveals something we did not realize was missing. They remind us that life is not only about the paths we walk alone, but also about the people who walk beside us. And when that realization grows stronger, it becomes impossible to ignore. You begin to see the world differently. Ordinary moments start to feel meaningful because they are shared. A simple conversation becomes important. A quiet walk becomes unforgettable. Even silence begins to carry warmth when two people are comfortable enough to simply exist in it together without needing to fill every moment with words or explanations or proof. Something inside you settles in a way it never has before. And you understand without being told that this person has not just entered your life. They have quietly rearranged the way you experience every single day you are alive and breathing. But love is not only about beautiful moments. It is also about courage. The courage to open your heart even when you know it can be hurt. The courage to trust someone with the fragile parts of your soul. In a world where people often protect themselves behind walls of distance and indifference, choosing love is an act of bravery. Every human heart has known disappointment. Every person has faced moments when trust was broken, when promises faded, when feelings were not returned with the same sincerity they were given. Those experiences can make us cautious. They teach us to guard ourselves, to believe that keeping our distance will keep us safe. But safety is not the same as living. A heart that never risks love may avoid pain, but it also misses the depth of connection that makes life truly and completely meaningful beyond everything else we achieve. When someone walks into your life and shows you that love can be gentle instead of destructive, something remarkable happens. The walls you built slowly begin to lower, not because you are forced to drop them, but because you feel safe enough to let them go. Safety in love does not come from control, it comes from trust, from knowing that the person standing beside you respects your heart instead of trying to possess it. And yet there is a powerful intensity in love that cannot be denied. A feeling that says this person matters more than ordinary connections. They are not just another chapter in your story. They are someone who becomes part of the meaning of your life itself. When you look at them, you see not only who they are today, but the countless moments that could exist in the future. Conversations not yet spoken, memories not yet made, laughter not yet shared between the two of you. Love invites us to imagine a shared future, not as a fantasy, but as a possibility that grows stronger with every passing day. Two lives that once moved separately begin to align in quiet ways. Dreams that once belonged to individuals start to blend together. The future stops being a solitary path and becomes something built together, step by step, day by day, choice by choice. But in the quiet center of that connection, there is also a powerful declaration that forms slowly in the heart. A feeling that grows stronger the more deeply you know someone. It is not about ownership or control, it is about devotion. A promise that the person you love is not just passing through your life like a temporary visitor. They are someone you want to stand beside through every chapter that comes next, through the easy seasons and the difficult ones, through clarity and confusion, through everything. That promise begins as a whisper in the heart, a quiet certainty that grows stronger every time you see their smile, every time you hear their voice, every time you realize that their happiness matters to you as much as your own. And as that certainty grows, you begin to understand something beautiful and terrifying at the same time. You are no longer just living for yourself. Your decisions start to include someone else's happiness. Your hopes begin to carry someone else's dreams. Your future becomes connected to another human soul in a way that cannot easily be separated. That realization can feel overwhelming because love changes the way we see the world. It makes ordinary days feel brighter. It gives meaning to moments that once seemed insignificant. But it also asks something from us: to care deeply, to be patient, to listen, to protect the fragile trust that two people quietly build together over time. And in the middle of all that, there comes a moment when the feeling inside your heart becomes impossible to keep quiet. You look at the person who has changed your world without even trying, and you realize that they are no longer just someone you care about. They are someone you choose, not once, but every day. You choose to stand beside them when life is easy. You choose to support them when life becomes difficult. You choose to believe in them when doubt appears. You choose them in the small moments and the big ones. Because love is not a single decision made in one emotional moment. It is a continuous promise renewed quietly every morning when you open your eyes and they are still the first thought filling your heart before the rest of the world has even had a chance to begin demanding your attention and your energy and your strength. And sometimes when that promise grows strong enough, the heart speaks with a clarity that leaves no room for uncertainty. It does not shout. It does not demand attention. It simply states what it knows to be true. In a world filled with endless possibilities and countless paths, there is one person your heart refuses to walk away from. One person whose presence turns ordinary time into something meaningful. One person whose absence would leave silence where laughter once lived. And when you look into their eyes, you understand something that words struggle to fully explain. Among billions of people, your heart has chosen them. Not because they are perfect, not because life will always be easy, but because something inside you recognizes something inside them. A connection deeper than logic, a bond stronger than fear, a feeling that grows more certain and more unshakable with every single day. And in that quiet understanding, there is a promise forming in the deepest part of the heart, a promise that does not need an audience, a promise that exists even in silence, a promise that says that out of all the possible stories life could write, the one you want most is the story where your paths remain together, where your lives continue to intertwine, where your laughter echoes through the same moments, where your dreams build the same horizon. Because when love becomes real, it does not ask whether the journey will be easy. It only asks whether the two hearts walking together are willing to keep going through everything that comes, the uncertainty, the beauty, the storms, the stillness, without letting go of each other and without ever needing to search again for what the heart has already found and recognized and chosen as its home. And when you look at the person who has changed your world, you begin to understand the quiet truth growing inside your heart. This connection is not temporary, not accidental, not something meant to fade with time. It is something you want to protect, something you want to nurture, something you want to hold on to through every uncertain day and every beautiful moment that still waits ahead. Because somewhere deep inside your soul, a quiet voice keeps repeating the same simple truth, that the story of your heart is no longer written alone, and the person standing in front of you is no longer just part of the crowd. They are the one your heart refuses to let go of, the one whose presence turns ordinary days into unforgettable memories, the one whose smile feels like light breaking through clouds, the one whose voice brings calm to the chaos of a world that never stops moving and never stops asking more than you feel ready to give. The one whose existence reminds you that love is not just a word people say, it is a force that reshapes the way we live. And when that realization becomes undeniable, the heart begins to speak with a certainty that cannot be ignored. Not loudly, not dramatically, but with a calm conviction that feels stronger than anything else you have ever known. A quiet promise carried in the deepest part of the soul. A promise that grows stronger every time you stand beside them. A promise that echoes through every shared moment and continues to live in every heartbeat that whispers the same truth again and again. That in this vast world full of strangers and endless paths, there is one person your heart has chosen. One person whose presence feels like destiny. One person whose hand you want to hold through every chapter of life that still waits to be written and lived and remembered long after the noise of the world has faded. And every part of your soul knows the same unshakable truth, that one day, somehow, somewhere, no matter how long the road may be, no matter how many storms may appear along the way, the story of your heart will lead back to them. Because the feeling inside you is not temporary, not uncertain, not fragile. It is steady, patient, unbreakable. A quiet certainty that grows stronger with every passing moment. A certainty that says the path of your life and the path of their life are meant to continue side by side. A certainty that turns a simple hope into an unshakable belief. A belief that lives in every heartbeat and every silent prayer. A belief that says with calm confidence and unwavering devotion, "You will be mine, only mine." And that truth, as quiet as it is the most powerful and most certain thing your heart has ever known or will ever need to know.